We're live. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the spoiler review for Spider-Man No Way Home. Welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk. I apologize if there's any audio issues today.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and today we'd like to again welcome back Mr. Brandon Friedman.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Of course, very happy that you're here.
Talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah, like Sean said real quick, sorry there's audio issues. We spent the last 20 minutes trying to get Wavelink Elgato talking to you to work. Wasn't working for some reason. We were able to kind of put it together, and somehow it's working now. So Elgato, if you're listening, please.
Yeah, well, I'd like to say to Elgato, your software is not working. We cobbled together everything else.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, but yeah, as the title of the video, this is our Spider-Man No Way Home review. I think we'll probably start off with quick non-spoiler thoughts, and then we'll get into spoilers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So who wants to start?
Why don't we have the guest of honor go first?
All right.
Give us your non-spoiler thoughts and your ranking or your rating. Sorry.
All right. Real quick, sorry, Sean. Can you just turn up me and Brandon in Discord?
Yeah, I heard he did to 150. I'll put you to 200.
Oh, okay.
All right, Ryan. Start off with a big spoiler in the chat, but
Oh my god,
non-spoiler
it's
review.
Jesus.
I guess he just wants to add into that. But I guess non-spoiler review would definitely be that it was definitely worth the watch. It was definitely worth the hype. Even when we don't talk about spoilers, everything that was shown in the trailer lived up to the expectations. The reactions were pure and honest, but everything else, I mean, we'll get into it, even set it above that standard. So definitely an awesome film that any Marvel fan or even movie fan or even just casual fan of any kind of entertainment should go see.
What was your rating out of 5?
5 out of 5. And I told this to TJ as I walked out of the theater. I've walked out of the theater twice in my entire life saying that this might be the best movie I've ever seen. This was the second time.
What was the first one?
Transformers, the original one, was the first
All
one.
right, and that will do it for Brandon's portion of the review.
That was when I was 13 years old, and I was like super into that. And I mean, it's just one of my classic movies. But yeah, 5 out of 5, definitely.
Nice.
All right. I'll go next. Sean, real quick, see if you can turn down your gain a little bit. I know it's really annoying, but we're just trying to, I apologize again. We're trying to cobble this together. So, because I guess me and Brandon are quiet compared to you. So, what did I think of this movie? I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought it hit on everything that it needed to. A lot of things going into it, a lot of spoilers around TikTok and Twitter, and and theories that were either gonna make or break the movie. And I thought it did a fantastic job on just delivering everything that it needed to, especially with the amount of characters that were rumored for this movie, the amount of the villains, the heroes, and even like the cameos that we got, was just. I just thought fantastic all around. Props to John Watts and Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige for putting all this together, and I thought I think this is definitely for me the best Tom Holland movie, Tom Holland Spider-Man movie that there's been so far.
You get the best Tom
out
Holland
of the three. Well, honestly, it might be. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen Cherry. I heard Cherry wasn't that great, or even Uncharted. We don't know how that's going to be. And I know it's been a bunch of other stuff, but best home, if you want to call it home trilogy movie by far, in my opinion. For me, I think it's still, the more I think about it, I still want to see it again. I've seen it twice already, and I still want to see it again. For me, it's still second to Spider-Verse, surprisingly. But as I keep thinking about it, I keep thinking about it more and more. Though I'm like, oh man, I might have to put it number one. But I definitely do want to see it again. But yeah, props to Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, All
Marissa
fantastic in this
Tomei.
movie. Marissa Tomei, fantastic. Yeah, I definitely go out and see this, even if you're not like you're not like
And
diehard
Benedict
MCU
Cumberbatch.
or anything. Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah. If you're not diehard MCU or anything, still Willem Dafoe too. Oh my God, fantastic. And Alfred Molina. But if you're not diehard MCU, I'd say still go see this if you have any affinity for Spider-Man whatsoever.
Or any affinity for good movies.
Yeah, 5 out of 5, by the way, for me.
Wow. So for me, I mean, I was absolutely floored by this movie the first time I saw it. I just everything that you guys said, every performance out of the cast. Some people will talk in the spoiler section. Some of those people especially gave, I think, some very incredible performances. But I think overall the main thing to take away from this movie is just I loved everything it did everything it did in the movie and everything it did to set up what the MCU's Peter Parker and Spider-Man is going forward. That to me, take everything else out of it, any cameo, any character, all of that to me was like great. It was awesome. I was hyped up. But the thing that I loved most was the last 4 minutes of the movie that just was, all right, this is what Spider-Man is going to be going forward. You know, I'm not going to spoil anything in this section, but, you know, we'll talk about it later. But just everything that scene built up, and then, you know, everything that you kind of see in that scene really was just like setting up for, okay, you know, it's not confirmed or whatever, you know, but they're working on it. But there's going to be another trilogy. It's going to be, you know, him going into college. And in a movie this good, the fact that, yes, did I love the movie? Absolutely. Yes, did I love every aspect of the movie? Absolutely. But the fact that the thing that I'm taking away with is I just cannot freaking wait for what comes next, I think to me is the strong point of the movie. Is that the movie is so strong, and I'm like floored by that, but I'm just so looking forward to what comes next. And I think that to me is like my highlight of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a solid 3.5 out of 5. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
No, I'm gonna go 5 out of 5.
Now I said real quick, does this rank top for you guys? No doubt. For
No
out of all of them?
question.
No question.
I think I've seen it 3 times. I have to see it.
Another 4.
Yeah, I have to see it as many times as I've seen Spider-Verse. I feel to be like a fair comparison, but also it's not about how many times I see it. It's just about the time that passes, because Spider-Verse to me it's like it's a 3-year-old movie at this point, and to me it just you know, everything that we talked about on Wednesday's show. Go check it out, Planet Film Live, ranking all the Spider-Man movies with us 3 right here. So go check out what we said there, but mainly, you know, what I said still stands. I think Spider-Verse still encapsulates what is Spider-Man better than this movie did.
Right.
But this movie wasn't trying to do that. You know what I mean? That was what
Right.
Spider-Verse set out to do, is the whole, you know, we talked about the main theme of that is anyone can wear the mask. Anyone can be Spider-Man. This was just, you know, what does it mean to be this Spider-Man? What does it mean to be, you know, Tom Holland Spider-Man? Yeah, what?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'd argue it did the same thing as Spider-Verse, and that's why I put it a little bit ahead of Spider-Verse. And that, like, this movie is a watch for anybody. You don't have to be like super into Spider-Man and knowing anything to like know and enjoy this movie. But like, I think that idea that anyone could really be Spider-Man is even more enforced in this, because he's trying to I mean, like, throughout the Tom Holland movies, like, he's trying to be his own person. He's trying to be a normal kid. He's trying to be a high schooler. He's trying to go through his life. But it's just like this obligatory responsibility that he has on himself to be Spider-Man.
Good word
definitely,
choice.
was definitely pulling him towards that kind of route, and we'll get into that when we get into the spoilers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, but
you
for
were
right
mentioning.
now, to answer the question, I would still say it's a very close second. I'm sure it's going to be one of those things that, if I had to guess where it's going to fall, it's going to be until another Spider-Man movie comes out that really like knocks us on our ass of how good it is. They're going to be vying for number one. Like it's going to be
might
tied.
Be Spider-Verse Part 2 or the next Spider-Verse.
I know, yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. If we're talking 2 years from now, we're doing a spoiler review for Across the Spider-Verse Part 2, and if like Peter B. Parker dies in like some heroic sacrifice, we might be talking about again. We got a number one contender. I don't know,
right?
But absolutely, I mean, it is without question number two, if not number one. And I feel like I just can't get myself to say it's number one just because I don't want it to be like recency bias on my part, unconscious recency bias. But I think it's got a very real shot that in a month from now I'll say no, it holds up. It's definitely the best one. But for right now, I'll say at least it's tied for number one with Spider-Verse.
Right. They're very close for me. But
absolutely.
I'd still
if you're talking in terms of just pure quality, they are completely tied. They are both as good. Like Spider-Verse and No Way Home are as good a Spider-Man movie you can make. Like period.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I think at that point just what do you like more? You know what I mean? Right. It's like when it's such like a embarrassment of riches or whatever, like you have two such great movies, it just comes down to, what is your personal taste, I guess. But yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into spoilers.
Yeah. Is there any like favorite moments anybody wants to bring up? Like one of their favorite moments?
Before spoilers or after?
After.
Yeah, we're in spoilers now. Full spoilers going forward here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely have
Strange Supreme! What?
I definitely have two moments that are my favorite moments of the movie that are just like peak cinematography and just greatness of acting and making the audience feel engaged and part of the movie. So I don't know if we want to talk about that now or if we want to talk about
I know, absolutely. Go for it.
Let's start with you.
All right, number one, the scene where they are... Okay, so spoiler. I had the movie ruined for me as I walk into the theater.
Literally minutes beforehand.
Right as I'm walking into the theater to go sit down, our friend is telling me, oh, well, those two that you think are mentioned in the movie are going to be in there. They're there. And I'm just like, of course. So I just got it absolutely ruined for me, but still one of the greatest moments. It's up there with Endgame's multiverse reveal when all of the heroes come back.
Isn't it funny that both of those big moments were through Doctor Strange portals?
I mean, it could just like that's just the best way to introduce characters again.
Kevin Feige's like, how are we gonna bring these crazy people in? Portal, and it's gonna be the exact same thing in Multiverse of Madness. 100%.
Yeah, so,
although maybe in the end credit, I didn't see many portals going on. I saw more like a Monsters Inc. Like they opened multiple doors in that port, and it was just like into a void of nothing. So maybe it's gonna be less of like portals and more of like they're gonna find something where like they just go into like to walk into a room or something, and they're like just in like a multiversal void. Like that's what it looked like almost. But
yeah, so the first scene is the rooftop scene after Aunt May dies.
Oh yeah,
and where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are both talking and trying to reason with Tom Holland, talking about like their experiences, and it just felt so real. And like Tom's acting and Zendaya's acting were all so real, and it was just like one of those like heart-wrenching like moments. Like I can't believe that I'm like watching.
And Jacob was there.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like that moment where where Tobey Maguire talks about his story, and then Andrew Garfield brings up Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy dying, and then like says like, oh, she was my MJ, and then they both mention how like they heard Uncle Ben say, with great power comes great responsibility, and Aunt May says that to him, and it was just
specifically on the day they died.
Right, and then they all like talk about it because they were like, because that's what Uncle Ben said. and it's just like one of those like real emotion moments. I thought the movie did excellent jobs of like sprinkling in callbacks to other movies that like I didn't even recognize at first. Like the whole thing when Doc Ock and Peter or Toby Maguire, I'll just call him like Toby Maguire, but like when they're talking for the first time and he's just like, I'm trying to be better. And like I didn't know
Yeah.
that was from Spider-Man 2 when they're talking. Like I heard you're lazy and yada yada yada, and then he's just like trying to be better.
Yeah.
So
And it also kind
I
of
thought,
ties into Spider-Man 3 with like, you know, granted he had Venom in him, but you know, at the same time it's like even before he had, you know, the symbiote, he was being an asshole to MJ. Like, you know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like
Right.
I like too that it's like, you know, none of them are perfect people. You know what I mean? Like, which I feel like I feel like after this movie you can now say that wholeheartedly about Tom's Spider-Man, because before it was kind of like, yes, was crazy shit happening to him, yes, was he getting emotional, like I told my mom today, I was like the scene in Far From Home in the plane, like when he's like just like when Happy's stitching him up and he's like he like has the like kind of like flip out over Tony where, you know, he's kind of been kind of trying to move past it, but then it all just kind of catches up with him at once, type of thing. Like, and everybody was like, Tom Holland really brings it in that scene. It's like that performance is him in this whole movie. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like he just like you could finally say like, and then also obviously what happens at the end when Toby stops him, you know, from doing basic. Now Toby didn't kill him, but you know, Toby let him die, Norman, I mean, originally, but like
Yeah.
the fact that Toby stops Tom from doing the same thing that he basically did, which is, you know, letting this guy
Yeah.
rather let this guy die than, you know, try to save him. And I love too in the classroom in the lab when, you know, MJ is like, let's kick some ass, and Toby's like, cure some ass. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's a funny
yeah,
joke, but also it's like, you know, I liked too that he goes, um, we're gonna try and cure them, and he kind of looks at Tom and he's like, because that's what we do, like almost like, because that's what we do, right? Like, you know, like
yeah,
we're not
Right.
like, because, and also a little moment that I saw, um, was in that same scene, like Tom is so obviously the whole thing is that, you know, what happens with Aunt May, like Tom is so viscerally like angry with Norman and just wants to like murder him basically, like when he's putting down the cures for the people and he's like, all right, we you do that one, you do that one, and he's like, all right, you know, you have Connors to, you know, Andrew, and then he's like, I could probably do Marco and Dylan, and then when he goes to hand Norman's to Toby, he like can't even bring himself to say Osborne, like, you know what I mean? Like he hands it to him and he's kind of like, you can have, and then he just kind of like puts it down, and it's just like I love that, like just the tiniest shit in this movie is like so perfectly thought out,
Yeah.
like that, like just in that moment you could see like he was about to say like, all right, and you have Osborne, and he like couldn't even say it, he just like handed it to him and he was like, you have that one. Like
Yeah.
um but yeah.
And going back to what Brandon was saying about like kind of them on top of the school.
Oh yeah.
I love the progression, especially with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
thank you,
'cause
that
the
is exactly what
progression with it, just their story after those movies
yes.
have ended. You know, where he's like, I got bitter. I was stopped pulling my punches, and I just love that we're getting that progression from his Peter Parker, because we kind of just left and we didn't really know where he was at. Obviously, we knew he was very, very upset that Gwen had died,
Yeah.
but we don't see him deal with that at all. And that was just, and I think I like love Toby. I love Tobey Maguire. Like it was so even no matter how we feel about those movies, because I think like when we're doing our rankings, most of them were at the bottom. Like I think 3 out of the 5 that they were in, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yeah. We're kind of towards the bottom of our rankings, but we still love them as that character.
Yeah.
But for me, I was surprised how much Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker hit for me, and how much like I just wanted to get more into the headspace of where he was at, and just again leading up to probably my favorite scene in the movie when he rescues MJ. That was just like that's
when. And I was one, you guys remember, I was one that I was like, I don't know if they're gonna. I was like, I feel like that's too on the nose because everybody was like, he's gonna catch her, and I was like, I feel like that might be too on the nose, and I am never been more glad to be wrong. Like that was just
his raw emotion after it. Yeah, his raw emotion. Yeah. It just felt so real, and that's what I keep getting into. Like these emotions feel like they were the actual actors, going through this again,
absolutely,
as if they lost
with Andrew and Toby and all the villains.
Yeah. Well, even Tom Holland when Aunt May dies, when he's sitting up there on the stool, just sitting there crying, and he just can't even talk when he's talking to Toby and Andrew, and it's just it's so real, and it just felt so real that it's this movie is hitting it right where it needs to be because I'm so invested into all their characters, and that doesn't usually happen.
Honestly, just especially the fucking acting is just
It was crazy to me because I was thinking when she dies too, it's obvious in that moment she's his Uncle Ben, but then when 100%. She dies, it's he is nobody now. At least the other two still had May, where their Uncle Ben died, but now he doesn't have anybody. Hey, I mean he has no one, and nobody knows him. So it's what what. Where do you go from here? How do you rebuild these relationships?
Which to me, like I said, that is the single most thing that I am excited about. Because and we didn't argue about it, but on the show, I talked about my whole thing on I hate when people are like, oh, Iron Man Jr. and it's I said I was I want to see, I don't personally feel that, but I'm I want to see that cycle break, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Oh, and also one thing I said on the ranking to you guys when we were talking, I was like, it'll all hang in that the integrated suit they called it, with the big gold spider. I was like, it'll all depend on how he makes that suit, and I loved the way that they did that. It was he freed Otto, and then Otto handed the nano parts back, and it just he didn't make the suit. It's the same suit. It's just got a little bit of the Iron Spider over it. So I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. But then, like I said in the non-spoiler, as soon as I saw that door, as soon as it cuts and I saw the door, and then the rent's due on the 1st of the month, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I was like, holy shit, I am so fucking happy right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, oh man, I just couldn't even believe it. I was like, and then when he moves his stuff in, and then he opens the box, and first I felt bad for him because I was like, my man went to 3.5 years of a private genius high school, and he's got to take an essay or a GED prep. You know what I mean? He's just gonna get his GED, and then he puts up the Lego Palpatine, which shout out Disney synergy, but also but also.
I laugh.
He said, "Do it." But also
afraid of Palpatine.
It's his waking nightmare. But when he puts that down, it's shout out Disney synergy, but also it show no matter what happens, Ned will people forgot him, but he didn't forget any of them. You know what I mean? And that to me is I just love it really got me emotional with that just at the end there, and then. When he's putting that stuff up, and I want to talk a little bit, I'll circle back to what I was just talking about, but I want to scoop back 5 minutes. The fact that, obviously the whole scene of him and MJ in the diner was super emotional, which I called, by the way. That was my prediction, was that I had just said, I was like, no matter what happens, I think this ends with everybody forgetting him. The scene in the diner, yes, he's being his normal Peter Parker, awkward self, but he's still going to say it to her. You know what I mean? He's, nervous about it and everything. But then as soon as she, moves her hair out of the way and then the Band-Aid's there, it's it all clicks for him. It's
yeah.
It's she has gone through all this stuff with me, and all she's gotten is a cut on the forehead, and he's just that's too much. You know what I mean? That's a road that is just going to lead to worse and worse things. And also, I'm sure in the moment, like he was thinking about what Andrew said to him. You know what I mean about Gwen.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
it's like once you start down that path, it's like him trying to make her remember going into all that again. It's only going to open up both of them to more pain, and all that is like so beautifully shown, just with Tom Holland's reaction to seeing the Band-Aid on her head. And the fact that another thing I caught on the third time watching was he's like, "Oh my god, you're like cut." And she's like, I'm fine. I can't even feel it. But then when she doesn't remember him, she says, "Oh, it doesn't hurt anymore." So it's like in that moment too, he realizes, oh, it did hurt. She was just covering because she didn't want me to feel bad. You know what I mean? Like when you take the emotions out of it, like, yeah, she hit her freaking head. You know what I mean? Like that's still gonna hurt. And I just love all that. But then, like I said, with the apartment, just the fresh start of homemade suit, doing everything on his own, having
suit.
nobody. The suit is that was fucking beautiful. And I love that we got, like good looks at it, but we didn't get like a definitive like hero shot of it, because it's like, cool, yeah, save it, because then it'll be like a cool moment in the trailer for whatever the next movie will be of like, the full like hero shot of like the new suit or whatever. And it just looks so, and I feel so dumb because I'm always the one that's like, why is everybody complaining that it's like a red and black suit? Like it looks great. Like, you know what I mean? He's been red and black before. That red and blue suit, man. I never knew how much I wanted that classic look on Tom, because that fucking suit and the shininess of it, like it looked. And what was what did I spend 20 minutes talking about on the show on Wednesday? It looked like fabric. It looked like a real homemade suit, and I was like, oh my god, I was just so fucking pumped. And then the movie ended.
Real quick, I just want to touch on some people in the chat. Danielle said, "This
Shout out
is
to the
the
8 people
Spider-Man I've been waiting for, and the reason I didn't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I needed him to have to be on his own and not rely so much on the technology that was given to him." Michelle said, "Great film." Ryan said, "So glad Miles Morales didn't make an appearance in this movie." Which at first I thought Andrew Garfield was Miles Morales, because the shot of his suit was very, very dark, and I was like, "Is that a black suit?" And I was like, are they doing this? But then obviously they didn't as he ran closer. But again, like I said, this is I liked Tom Holland as Spider-Man before, but this is the most Spider-Man and movie that he's done, I guess.
Absolutely.
Out of the three.
And I feel like they're only going to get more Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was talking about with anybody can be Spider-Man, because they show 3 different Peter Parkers, and they're all like different people, and they all go through their own like struggles, and they all have their own issues. So it's just like 3 random people got to be Spider-Man, and like it kind of reinforces what we talked about of anybody being Spider-Man. But yeah, that part where Andrew Garfield comes through the thing too, like my buddy turned to me, who was sitting next to me, Mike, and he was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's Andrew Garfield." And I was like, I told TJ this. I had originally thought it was like the symbiote suit of Tobey Maguire. I was like, well, are they gonna do something with that? But then obviously they mentioned Venom in one of the post-credit scenes, and we can talk about that too. But yeah, that was,
and Toby mentioned it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I do want to just.
Oh yeah.
I just want to first really quick give props to the visual effects department, because I don't know what it is about the Doctor Strange moments in every movie, but they just bring the heat. Like it always looks so good, and
100%.
That whole fight was
all
fantastic.
the mirror dimension in this. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so great. I just loved
when the 2 portals like pancake in on each other and the world like shatters.
Yeah,
bro, that was
sick. I do want to talk about the villains, because I feel like we've kind of. We haven't really talked about them that much. Like I said earlier, Willem Dafoe, fucking fantastic. Maybe better than the Raimi performance. Like
I would say 1,000%.
Yeah, I think it reestablished
not 1,000% better, but 1,000% it is better.
Right.
Yeah, I think it reestablishes him as the villain of the Spider-Man whole universe. Is he is the main one. That's who they started with. That's who they want to keep going with. So, this main movie was going to be about the main villain of Spider-Man, and they chose it to be Goblin rather than Doc Ock or
Yeah.
when
who's
he
another
when
big
he is
character.
in Feast and he like yes, his performance as Goblin. We'll talk about that in a second because that was so unhinged and just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But his performance as Norman when he's
Yeah.
in Feast and he is just like crying and he's just like
Yeah.
he's like
I
there's
felt
someone
bad.
living.
I was
He's
like,
like there's
fuck.
someone living in my house. You know,
Yeah, it was like how I
Oscorp
felt
doesn't
about
exist.
Doc Ock after
Yeah.
he got his chip fixed. Like I felt
Oh my
bad.
god, yeah.
Like I felt bad for Norman and Feast.
Yeah.
And like my favorite like one of my favorite moments for just him is obviously like after kind of the turn when they're fighting in the hallway and how brutal he is. Like despite he's like he slams him through four floors. But when he's on like on his shoulders and he's like punching him, and
Yeah.
every punch, Willem Dafoe's like smile just gets like meaner and meaner.
Did I tell you what that reminded me of, or was that Chris?
No, that was Chris.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Because it was when the credits were rolling. That reminded me of Batman v Superman when Superman has the kryptonite and Batman's punching him and his head's turning and then the kryptonite's wearing off and he starts slowly like not moving his head. That is exactly what that moment reminded me of because it's just he is getting wailed on. Now Batman doesn't have super strength, but you know,
Right.
Spider-Man is wailing on him with super strength. And he's still pulling his punches, by the way, which we'll talk about a moment, you know, in a little bit. We probably have to wrap up here, and like we got probably like 10 more minutes. But he's still pulling his punches. He is still not hitting him with full force, but he is hitting him, and he's just like cackling, staring right into his eyes. Like, oh my god, that like sent a chill down my freaking spine.
Same.
Yeah, so my buddy Ryan in the chat also said that the Spidey sense when Green Goblin was taking over Norman was also done very well.
With like the pull
I did not know
zoom.
what was going on. Yeah, and then he like comes back out and then he like reveals that it's the Goblin again.
Yeah.
Like, fantastic.
I thought again, and that's one of those things where I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, if you're gonna use Goblin, just use Willem Dafoe again. Like, because I don't think anybody.
You didn't want to see James Franco as
can do it as well.
As New Goblin
James Franco.
coming through?
Yeah, New Goblin.
Again,
Yes, I was gonna. Okay,
fantastic.
Ryan Adams. I think that's what you're referring to, but that's what I was gonna say. So Tom Holland, in an interview like a month before this came out, said that they actually stole a move from the PS4 game.
Yeah, I
and
heard
that's what the move is. So when they're fighting on the balcony or on the patio or whatever, it's when Spider-Man's under him, webs up, flips, and then webs the ground and slams him down.
Yeah,
That's directly out of the game.
Oh,
yeah, and I was like,
that.
that looks so fucking sick in live action, and the fact that Peter's so strong that when he did it, and granted he wasn't like on the ground, he was on like a patio, so he did it and it busts through like 3 different floors. Just the two of them beating each other down the hotel. Or down the apartment building or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and again, Willem Dafoe
thanks,
said
Ryan.
the only way he would come back is if they let him do his own stunts, and that he obviously wanted like he didn't want to just be a cameo, like he wanted to like have something for the character to do. I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And Amy Pascal said that they specifically told they wanted the villains to know that it is not just going to be cameo appearance. Like they're going to be they're going to have some good moments and some good screen time. Like now, granted, Lizard aside, I think we could safely say like I don't even know. I actually
his only moment is in the truck when he's locked in the truck.
And he's like, so it begins. Like that's like his big thing. I did like their little fight though at the apartment complex, like as brief as it was. And then like when he went after, he did have some good moments, but more so just Lizard had some good moments, like some fight moments. But like I just feel like Rhys Ifans, I'm not sure on this. I've seen the movie 3 times. I'm gonna have to see it a couple more times to be sure, but I actually think that it was reused footage from The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I had said that. I said I don't think that like it was original footage. That I was like, that didn't look like him. Like that he was there. Like they barely show him when he gets cured.
Yeah,
and it was like I don't know why they chose to do it that way, because everyone else has like a moment after they're cured of like what they go through.
Like
And he
Thomas
just
Hayden
sits
Church.
there.
I was like, oh, maybe they just never had Thomas Hayden Church on set, but then they were
That's what
just
I
saving
thought.
it for later, which I thought was, you know, kind of weird but interesting.
He was like, because in the Spider-Man 3, he can kind of become like a human, kind of. Like, he's still sand. But so I was like, oh, maybe they just didn't get him back. And
the
then
way that I
end,
took that is maybe when he the way that I took that was just maybe because obviously time had passed for him. Like he was the furthest in the timeline of any of the villains. Like he was clearly taken years or a good amount of time after Spider-Man 3. So I was just thinking maybe it's just like kind of Max, how they just kind of waved their hands and were like, oh, he's different now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they maybe were just like, oh, maybe his powers or his curse or whatever you want to call it, maybe the sand stuff just took over more of his body. And so maybe it was even like more important for him, you know, to get back or whatever. But yeah, what else?
Only the issue with the villains, and the only issue really with the movie is that they didn't find a sixth person just to like give us the six. But I mean,
I like
if
that
I had to
though.
pick one,
Yeah.
if I had to just pick one thing, it was just that.
Right.
Like, but it was just like you have the six, but like I'm not gonna sit here and complain that you can't find another villain or do anything else. But like whatever.
Did this movie make anybody else think more that maybe Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio is just dead? Like,
no.
Okay.
I think they're just saving.
I didn't think of Mysterio except for the first hour of the movie where they like really just try to push that narrative of him like trying to become more of a teenage.
Somebody already was like how to fix Spider-Man No Way Home in one sentence, and it's just instead of forgetting that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, just say, can you make people forget who Mysterio was? It's like it could have fixed everything. But you could do that with everything.
Being a 17-year-old kid, you think that you just want to fix
yourself.
yourself.
Exactly like what Strange says. He's like, you're telling me that you wanted me to brainwash the entire population of the world, and you didn't even give them a phone call. Like that was so fucking funny.
What did we think about Jamie Foxx? Good?
Really good. I actually think he was fantastic.
It was just like so far off from the original Max Stone, but like you said, it's progressive.
I actually disagree with that.
You thought he was more like Max Stone than
visually, obviously not, but personality-wise, when he was like, you know, yes, clearly there was a change. Like clearly he's the more confident, you know, Electro version.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like,
but
the confidence
still,
was definitely there.
Especially when the power's taken from him, I think he goes right back to it. He's like huddled up in the corner, and he's like, I just don't know what. And he's like, no man, I'm all tapped out. I'm all tapped. Like, and he's just like, you can tell. And he's like, I was never good enough for anything. Like this was, you know, and Peter's like, what are you talking? Like I'm glad that the two of them, I'm glad that like those two needed that moment, just like Otto and Peter needed the moment right after. Because it's like totally. Like those were the two, the Spider-Man and villain combo that really, if they had just sat down and talked, probably could have worked something out. And I'm glad that both of them got the chance with both of those villains to do that. Because it's like, you know, Max, I would never was trying to hurt you or anything. Like I was just trying to help you. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I love too when Max he says something like, "Eels, man." Like just about the electric.
Well, even like when he's like, man, I was hoping you were black.
Yeah.
And when he's like sitting down with Tom Holland's Peter, and he's like, one question for you: are those your Legos?
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Like everything for him like was very funny to me.
Are we all just gonna stand here and pretend like I'm not butt ass naked?
Right. Yeah.
And then I love that Sandman goes, I am.
Yeah. Again, like you said, we're a little short on time, so as much as we would like to talk about everything, we don't really have the time. Do we really want to touch on real quick the end credit scene?
Which one?
Hopefully
the first one.
We'll start with the first one. Hopefully they pick a good Eddie Brock for this universe. rather than like what Eric Foreman, gosh, Topher Grace,
Oh
Right.
yeah. I am.
brought to the table and just hopefully gets that dynamic.
I was very disappointed with the first end credit scene,
Really?
only because I've been saying it for a long time. The movies have not been good, but Tom Hardy's Venom has really grown on me. And when he was like, "Oh, I might have to go," as cheesy as the line was, when he was like, "Oh, I might have to go up to New York and visit this Spider-Man," I was like, I was like, "All right, let's fucking go, let's do." And then he poofs away, and I'm like,
I was shocked.
I was like, "What the fuck?" And also, by the way,
Yeah.
there was a bit of a logic problem, but I think I solved it in my head. Eddie Brock doesn't even know what Spider-Man is, let alone that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that's the only reason that people get pulled across the multiverse. But what I worked out was in the post-credit of Venom, Venom says, we're a hive mind across the multiverse. So I think it's because of
The symbiote knows?
yeah, the symbiote knows that Peter is Spider-Man. Even so, it's technically Venom got pulled across the multiverse, and Eddie just basically went for the ride as like the vessel.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is listed for Venom 3 though, right? Like he signed on for Venom 3. I thought I saw.
I don't know
it
if there's
somewhere.
any information on Venom 3.
I'm not sure
I
yet.
thought I
Yeah.
heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it's false, but I thought someone said that.
Yeah, I was shocked because I thought for sure Sony would be like, "No, you are putting this Venom in your MCU."
Yeah,
Marvel.
like I really hope they don't do Venom though. Like I don't want Venom in the MCU at all.
They are.
They zoom in on the symbiote drop right at the end of it. They have to.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I think that'll just be like a Tom going evil. But I don't think like a character is going to become Venom. Because I just think why have two Venoms at the same time if it's not going to be Tom Hardy?
Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love when he's like, there was a Tin Man that could fly, and he goes like it's like and it's just you don't have to say anything else.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah.
oh my god.
So yeah, I was surprised by that. And then about the trail, just the trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it, was the final post credit scene. I was surprised that they just were like, yeah, here's the evil Doctor Strange from What If. Like we're already doing it.
Is it though?
That's what I figured. Again, for me, that was my favorite episode, so that's the only episode I really like kind of know. But
like, but that Doctor Strange, he doesn't really, not to spoil What If for anybody who hasn't finished What If, he's not really evil. Like the Doctor Strange in the trailer was like, oh, this is got like he looked like he was about to like snap some necks, like you know what I mean? Like Strange Supreme was absolutely evil. But then, he kind of had his come to Jesus moment, and then, I would say he's morally questionable, but still a good person. So it's like, but maybe it's something that maybe it's, the same thing, just slightly different. Or maybe something happens post What If, and it is him. Either way, it looked like what I would consider a live action version of what he looked like with the more sunken in like face and like the longer beard. But yeah, I mean, Wanda looks so freaking sick.
yeah.
Shout out
Miss
to
Marvel.
I think unsung hero in that is two things. Carl's new dreads. Chiwetel looking real fresh with the new look on
Finally
Mordo.
see him. Finally.
I know too many sorcerers. Where have you been, my guy? Like you gotta squash
I
out
thought
Ned
he was the
Leeds.
main
You know what I mean?
villain of the. Yeah, I thought he was going to be like the main villain, and now Strange Supreme shows up, and it's like, well, what's going to really happen? But
Yeah.
yeah.
What was I gonna? Oh yeah, but unsung hero is Steven, like Doctor Strange's new outfit. His new suit looks fucking great. It's so much closer to the comics. Like it looks so nice, and I love too that like just a little thing on the new suit, like the suit itself, the design is straight out of the comics and everything. But a little thing, I just like that the eye of Agamotto, like it usually rests like down here. Now it's like right up at the collar, and it just looks so like crisp. It just looks so nice. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got the news like yesterday that the reshoots finished, and it was 6 weeks of reshoots. to add.
Oh, really?
It was 6 weeks of reshoots to add. They said all the reshoots were adding more cameos, more multiverse things, more
Jesus.
more multiverse stuff, more craziness.
Matt
Basically,
Murdock?
just huh?
Oh, we didn't even talk about Matt
Yeah,
Murdock.
we didn't talk
We
about
just
Matt.
skipped
Oh yeah,
Daredevil.
shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Daredevil series, but like right when I saw
I watched
him
one
and I saw
episode.
the cane, I was like, "Oh, that's Daredevil. I know that."
Yeah.
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
don't need anything like.
By the way, our friend, the one that spoiled Spider-Man for you, so a bunch of us went to see it in the 4DX, which is a cool experience. I would recommend
It was
going to
cool,
see
yeah.
it. He goes, when Matt came on screen, I went, "Oh, you know who that is?" And he was like, "What? No, who is that?" And then like a minute later, he goes, "Oh, that's Tobey Maguire, isn't it?" And I literally turned to Chris. You know, like he's been on the show a couple times. Like I turned to Chris and I was like, he just asked me if Matt Murdock was played by Tobey Maguire. He was like, I was like,
That's Travis.
What are you talking about? Oh my god, so freaking stupid.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
so
Captain Carter 100% going to be in it. I agree.
I think maybe just to end off, I know, sorry, Sean, I know you're pressed for time. I apologize.
That's okay.
Maybe just end off. We'll go with Ryan's basically question and just like where do we go? I think we kind of touched on it, already, but like where do we go? Where does this lead into? What is Spider-Man doing in the next? Because Kevin Feige's already said that they're developing Spider-Man.
4 is already it's already a go.
It's already it's happening. So what do we go? Where do we go from here? I think personally, I think we're gonna see Zendaya and Jacob battle on again. I don't think we just leave those characters where they are because I just think
I
don't know,
strongly disagree.
really, I really hope they're
Not
back.
only would it betray his decision at the end of this, but also they moved out of New York. They're not
they're
even
at
there.
MIT. You're right.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think
All right.
will we see them again by the end of Tom's run? 100%.
Yeah.
Will we see
Yeah,
them
you
again
don't-
anytime soon?
Maybe
I don't
Gwen
think
at
so.
that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
You introduce Gwen Stacy. You do the whole
And
thing
Harry
with
Osborn, I think that's where you
Yeah,
go.
the Bugle. Yep. Harry
Yeah.
Osborn, and then
Yep.
well, they don't even have like Oscorp, and that's like what they mentioned. So like they're gonna have
Right.
to like introduce that too because
Yeah, and they mentioned again, like even Jamie Foxx was like, "Oh, I bet there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere," and obviously that's like kind of the the Miles hint or whatever. I don't know. Have you guys seen this fan casting of Timothy Chalamet as Harry?
100%.
And then
100%.
I've also seen Matthew McConaughey as Norman. Which
I would
for me,
be
I don't
on
know
board
if
with
Matthew
both of those.
McConaughey signs on to do a franchise like that. He doesn't seem like that kind of actor, but I could be wrong.
Well, he did do Sing. He did 2 Sing movies.
That's true. Sing,
we also
They're
mentioned
trying to get
a
that
couple
line to
days ago.
Sing.
Yeah.
It's true. But yeah.
But yeah, I think again we're getting the animated series too, like the kind of like first year. Him
the
becoming
freshman year,
Spider-Man. Which I'm assuming Tom Holland was returning for that. I can't imagine they're having somebody else voice it, but
Probably, yeah.
with the what if, they're kind of like what if they were kind of picking and choosing. It seems like who's voicing.
Oh,
that.
here we go. Hang on. So Danielle says, if they only forget who Peter is, do they still remember that night, but just remembering helping Spider-Man?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I would. Yeah. Because
Oh,
J.
yeah,
Jonah Jameson still says like all the crap that went down with Spider-Man.
Yes. Very funny about him promoting his pills, like
His
the
supplements?
Daily Bugle. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is like completely Alex Jones now.
He goes, the only other
Boy,
daily fix you need. That was funny.
Yeah,
That
but
was really
the
good.
Ned like teased that he has some sort of sorcerer type thing going on. Do you
Yeah.
think that is because then you'd have to see them again if they're gonna go more into that. Maybe they just kind of. Like,
I don't think they're gonna go more into
No.
it. I think
Yeah.
it's just like I think Strange. I think it was all just for that moment of Strange to be like, did you just open a portal and just kind of like we see him like make a little mental note of it, and then he's just like, all right, moving on. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just one of those things. It's like it's just a dangling thread that I don't think we'll ever pick back up on.
Right.
But But like I said, I could be totally wrong. The whole movie could be about him trying to figure out a way to get their memories back or something. But I just feel like Kevin Feige's too smart not to just because it would just go back on the entire weight of the decision that he made.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think not. You say that, and I'm kind of like, I could see that being.
But
like,
then again, at the end of Iron Man 3, he is Iron Man Jr. At the end of Iron Man 3, Iron Man's like, I'm not Iron Man anymore. And then the next movie, he shows up and he's like, let's fucking blast this Hydra bitch into the sky. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
the MCU is not adverse to undoing big, fundamental character decisions and then explaining them 2 years after they change it.
Right. And wasn't there a thing that Spider-Man was supposed to be in Doctor Strange too? Or no?
I'd assume he is, only because,
because I thought it was supposed to be like
Tom
him,
Rothman,
Wanda, and Doctor Strange.
No, it's like the main. Okay. I think. Well, the main crew is America Chavez, who's a new character. She's from the comics, but new character to the MCU. She's the one in like the jean jacket with the star. She's like in the Captain America vein of characters. But it's the main crew is Wanda, Strange, Wong, and America Chavez. But if I had to guess, I think Spider-Man might be in it just like at the beginning because Tom Rothman, the head of Sony, said, it's a we give them one, they give us one, we have to give them one, and they were like, so Tom still has we still have one more give back before a new contract starts. So if Spider-Man 4 is already in production, as early at pre-productions as it might be, if it's already in production, I would think they would have to do the give back real soon. So I'm gonna guess he's going to be in it, but probably not a big role.
Right.
But yeah, if I had to guess, it might be the same thing as like with Loki. Like we know now that Loki's going to be in it, but he's not. He seems to not be a huge part of the marketing material, so he's probably going to have maybe a middle role in it or something like that. Yeah, it looked at Ryan Hennessy. It did look like Shumagorath was the main villain, and also I've already seen people saying, "Oh my god,
that's a big eye thing, right?"
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my god, the CG on that's the same tentacle monster that Captain Carter fought and that Strange Supreme absorbed." Yeah. They're like, "Oh my god, the CG on Shumagorath looks terrible."
Like 7 months.
They literally just started. Of course, it looked terrible. The fact that the trail. Do you ever notice that most of that end credit scene was just like real photography scenes? Like there was some really breathtaking CG scenes of like that little area that looked like it was like floating or whatever, but everything else was like in camera. But yeah, super excited. All right, I think we gotta wrap up. Brandon, do you have any last thoughts on anything that we haven't gotten to you on?
No, I think everything was spoken about. That all was great about the movie. I think I don't, and I told this to my younger brother because he had asked me. He's like, "Were you the one that shouted like during the part where Andrew Garfield saves MJ?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I don't ever do that in movies. Yeah. Like, I like that people do that because it definitely adds like an atmosphere." There's like
I quoted you at the
see this
40X
in the theater,
screen.
by the way. I know you can't watch it on demand, but go see it in the theater. Don't wait for like DVD or Blu-ray or whatever.
In the 40X one, when he caught her, I went, "Let's fucking go!"
It was like one of those moments. I think I might have said that as he did it, and I was just like, I don't say anything. I don't clap. I don't do any of that. This movie definitely made me do that, and it was just like instinct rather than I just want to be a part of the crowd. Like
it's 100% the most crowd pleasing film since Endgame. Like 100%.
I told TJ that like it was the Doc Ock scene when he comes up, even though we all knew he was going to be in there during the highway scene.
Oh yeah,
everyone started clapping. The pumpkin bomb, as like it trickles down, everybody started clapping. But then, and it's like the joke that we keep talking about, and it's I'm somewhat of a scientist myself when he's in the when he's in the cube. And
we called it that they had to do some line that was the same.
I'm glad it was like one line. I wish it was back to formula, like we kept on mentioning from Wednesday, but like that's just as good. Like that's just all back, and it's
And there was such
like,
opportunity to do it too, because the whole movie was about reconstructing or deconstructing the Goblin serum. So they really
yeah.
could have. They really had a lot of opportunity to do it. But
Yeah.
one last thing that I'm going to say before we outro here, the shot of the spider sense on all three of them framed in the middle of the camera, where it went Toby, Andrew, Tom, and then straight to Strange, and you see the box turn with the pumpkin bomb in it. And you have that half second of breath to go, oh fuck, and then the whole thing just pops off. That moment was maybe one of the most like, whoa, like that was my most like Soups moment in the movie. I was like, holy shit, because like I was like, what was Norman like trying to do with it? And the fact that he thought to shove it in there right before Strange, yanked it back was so awesome. A lot of people in this movie survived some pumpkin bomb explosions when they probably shouldn't have. Like Aunt May probably should have, exploded into pieces. But,
Oh, she should have been like cut in half, like the way she got fucking.
Well, the
hit
way
by
that Norman was. Yeah, like.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I don't think this one had like blades on it, did it?
It did, but
like,
if you remember when he's like Peter don't, and he's like doing a wrist thing, he sends him further out.
Oh,
because like with all of Norman's stuff, like I put in the daily recap yesterday for work. I wrote Godspeed Spider-Man like to everybody who's working today. But yeah, what a great movie. But I think that'll do it. Again, I think we all went 5 out of 5. Great movie. Yeah, I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all at the official PFN on all those platforms. And yeah, we'll catch you probably next, either for a trailer reaction or next on Wednesday's PFN Live. We will be doing our top 10 Christmas movies.
Boom. Thank you to Brandon for coming again. You would like to plug?
No, I just, like I did last time, I really appreciate being on these. These are super fun to talk about. I really enjoyed going to see this movie. I wish I had more time to go see it again, but
Right.
Nature calls. But yeah, just if you enjoyed us talking about this, the review and everything, just go back and watch the other videos that I'm in. Had a bunch of fun doing those as well, so definitely go check those out from PFN. Really enjoy being on this whenever they ask me to, so always anxious to do another one, so I really do appreciate it. But that's all.
Yep. Well, we love having you. I've been your other host, TJ Cornwell. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the movie in the comments below. As Sean said, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel, please.
Absolutely.
And then, as Sean said, catch us Wednesday for our top 10 holiday films with his mother as our guest.
Absolutely. Boom.
So till then, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Godspeed, Spider-Man. All right, deuces.